Hello there and welcome. It's Psychic Cynthia here. And welcome to you, fellow spiritual psychics and seekers of the higher truth and the mystic way. I'm logging on today to talk with you about one of my very favorite subjects in the world, and that is connecting with spirit guidance, spirit guides. And this has been on my mind lately and on my heart as something I wanted to teach more on again. I've taught a lot about it in the past, and it's something I do every day. I mean, I connect with my guides. For me, this isn't just a technique, it is a way of life. And I teach a guide-based way of life, you might say. I mean, yes, we want to connect with our own intuition, our own higher self, but we also want to connect with our guides, our ancestors, our angels, our spirit beings, our healers and helpers who are with us. And so I thought I would just say a few words about that today, and who knows, maybe there'll be some more videos. Starting out, what do I mean by guides? That word is used a lot, and it can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. The term guide, in a way, means just the same as if we were referring to an earthly guide. You know, if you hire a guide when you're on a trip or somewhere, you hire somebody to guide you. That is the idea that this person would know a little bit more about that experience than you, and they would be wiser than you at least, and that they would have some sort of knowledge or wisdom that could be helpful for you, and that they would be willing to help lead you on the path, advise you, direct you. So, you know, that's what a guide means on the earth plane, and it's sort of the same, you know, in the spiritual sense, that a spirit guide is a spiritual being who is here to help guide you, who is at least a little bit further along the path of evolution than you are, so to speak. Or maybe they just have a different vantage point, a different awareness. It doesn't mean necessarily they're better than us. I think a lot of people think that their guides are better than them. It's just different. And, you know, I believe that many of us will become guides when we pass on. I fully know that's something that's going to happen for me because I've had dreams about it, and even had dreams where I've done that in past lives, quote unquote, incarnations, in between incarnations, in other words. So it's entirely possible that you could have been a guide to somebody when you weren't in this human body. Between dimensions, between lifetimes, you could have been guiding others. But now it's your turn to be in the human world. It's your turn to experience this rich world of sights and sounds and smells and colors and tastes and textures and touch. What a beautiful experience. What a wonderful opportunity it is to be here on this earth plane. And there are so many spirits who want to help those of us who are here. So that's part of, you know, what the guide phenomenon is about. What are these guides? They are spirit beings who wish to help those of us who are incarnated. And they come in many different forms. You know, sometimes you hear talk about totems. These are our animal spirit guides that we can attune with. There's ancestral guides. There's angelic guides. For some, there may be fairy guides. I don't want to get into all those details right now. I do think it's important to understand that there are different types of guides. And so you don't, you know, have to think your guide is only going to look this way or that way. There's much variety in the realm of guiding spirits, okay? So just know that. And, you know, a guide could be very normal seeming and still be quite powerful. I had one client many years ago, and her guide's name was Bob. And Bob was always offering all kinds of great advice, but, you know, his name was just Bob, okay? So, and you know, your guide isn't always a famous person, by the way. If you go to a psychic, or an alleged psychic, let's use that phrase, and that alleged psychic tells you that you have all these guides and they're all famous, I would be suspicious, okay? Not because you have to be suspicious of psychics in general, but because you know, because you don't actually if they're truly authentic psychics. But, you know, if that person is telling you that, it sounds like to me they're just buttering up your ego. Now, that being said, I have done some readings for a few clients. I've done thousands of readings, but there's been a few clients who have had famous historical characters as guides. So it can happen. It can definitely happen, but don't assume that your guide is going to be, I don't know, Cleopatra or Napoleon or Lao Tzu or I don't know, whoever your idea of a guide is. So that's something I did want to cover on here, you know, that your guide may not even be, you know, of a human type. Your guide could be fairy type or a totem guide. You know, a lot of it depends on your culture and what you're coming out of and what you resonate with, too, also spiritually. So just think about that. And the important thing to know here, too, is that at least potentially we all have guides. Not everybody is in conscious connection with their guides. That is obvious. Look at the world. I mean, look at some of the problems in the world. If we were in more conscious connection with our guides, if all of us were seeking that communion with the spirits who are to help guide us, who are part of our council, we would create a more peaceful, caring-centered world. I am sure of that. But, you know, that's not going on. So, and it may just be that most people aren't ready yet to even think about the possibility that they have guiding spirits. But if you're here watching this video today, I feel like you're ready. And maybe you're ready to make contact. So I think the first step in building a relationship with your guides. Did you hear me? Okay. Actually, the first step is to realize that it's about building a relationship. Let me back up. That is the first step. You do have guides, or at least you have access to guides. I mean, they're there, but most people aren't consciously accessing them. You access through your subconscious and through dreams and other ways if you're not awake enough. You understand what I mean by awake, right? I'm talking about consciousness. I'm talking about being spiritually awake. And it doesn't make you any better than anybody else. It just means you're more connected into the multiverse and what's really happening. Okay. So you have to choose to connect with your guides. You have to choose. I mean, they can help you to a certain extent, and that's the other thing. These guides are helpers, and they can help us. But they have to operate within the free will clause. We all have free will here. So they're limited in what they can do without your express consent. I mean, there are certain things they can do without you asking. They can only do something that will not interfere with your free will, and something that they can be sure of that. So that's why it's good to consciously communicate with your guides and give them permission to work with you and open to make contact. So I guess the first step is to open to make contact with your guides. And listen, my sunlight is fading here. I love to film outside, but look, my light has disappeared. So I'm going to have to end this video, and we'll do some more, I think. If you want me to do some more, let me know, okay? Comment here. If you want me to, you know, teach you more about spirit guides here on YouTube and Facebook with these videos, let me know. But just know the first step is to make contact. And I think a tip for that, just keep it simple, is to just get quiet and get relaxed. You know, do a little meditation, a little breathing, and then just open your heart and say something simply like, guides, I'm ready to open. I'm ready to make contact. And then you might ask for a sign, or you might ask them to help you open your awareness so that you can perceive them more easily. I mean, that's what I would do if I was starting now. I'm not against asking for signs. I think it's okay. But the problem with asking for signs is that most people don't know how to read the signs. Most people are so thick. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you're most people, or you wouldn't be watching this video. But I'm just saying, if you ask for a sign, then you better keep your darn eyes open and your ears turned up and be paying attention. If you're not good at paying attention, if you're not good already at reading the signs, it would be better and more wise to ask your guides to help open your awareness, to help awaken you so that you can perceive them more easily and communicate with them. And listen, by perceive, I don't necessarily mean seeing, because there are many ways to perceive the guides. And really, it's not important that you see them in their physical form, because remember something important here. They don't have physical forms anymore, if they ever had them. So it's not important to see a physical form or to see with your physical eyes. You want to learn to see with your spiritual eyes. So ask them to open your spiritual eyes so that you may see and perceive them psychically. Ask them to help you become more aware of them. Ask them to help you see. Ask them to help increase your ability to pay attention. And this is, a way that you can start to make contact with your guides. I mean, are there more formal procedures you can go through? Yes, there are. That's a video for another time. Or maybe that'll just be part of a class series I'll teach in the future. I don't know yet. But you don't have to be all formal about it for now. Just, sit with your guides, open to them, invite them in. What I'm saying here is consciously invite your guides in. And if you're not sure about it, especially if you're afraid about it, some people get all wrapped up in fear. Fear is so popular nowadays. People just love to be afraid. It's almost like titillating for them. Okay, so if you're afraid of the spirits, but you still are interested in this idea of guides, well, first of all, you just need to get over your spirit fear. Are there some spirits that are dark and you should be afraid of? Yes, but those aren't your guides, okay? But if you're afraid, I would recommend that you start by calling upon your ancestral guides. Because your ancestors love you. You know that they want you to do well, and they're not going to do anything to hurt you. I think all of us, deep down inside, we have this sense that we can trust our ancestors. Now, we may not be able to trust our closest ancestors. Sometimes we have strained relations with our parents, our grandparents. But somewhere back there in the line, and, that's usually who comes through in the ancestral guideline. It's going to be somebody further back, usually. Somewhere back there are some ancestral guides for all of us. Those are some of the easiest guides to access. So I would recommend you start there if you're worried about it, if you're not sure. Now, if you feel more confident and you're really excited and ready to go and just ready to open to whichever guides want to come, well, then you don't have to worry about which type, okay? Just invite your guides in. Say that you're open and ready and willing to listen, to learn, and ask them to help you raise your consciousness, increase your perception. Ask for their help with that. That's the first thing I think we should ask for our guides for help with, because you need to be able to communicate with them and hear them in your own way or receive the messages. I'm saying hear because I'm a psychic hearer as well as seer, but you may not get it that way. You may just, when you start communicating with your guides, you may just feel what they're saying or feel them leading you in a certain direction, and then you get to decide if you want to go that way or not. By the way, it's not like they run your life for you. You have complete free will. You don't need to worry about that. I mean, you're not giving that up by working with your guides. I feel like working with our guides helps us to enhance our free will, because it gives us more knowledge of all the choices before us. So anyway, I hope you found this video helpful. I'm sorry the light has gotten so low, but isn't the sky beautiful though? I love the sky in the cooler weather. Thanks for tuning in to my Psychic Cynthia YouTube channel. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification button. And until next time, many happy adventures communicating with your guides. Bright blessings.